Hello, hello, collective. Thank you for being here. Take what resonates, leave what doesn't. Before wasting any more time, I see you be creating the impossible. A lot of people are so in disbelief. You are coming in with this new perspective right now. You have a lot of people watching you, being more creative, having this wild imagination. Yeah, you have a lot of people watching you, taking the leap of faith. There's no need for you to fear. Just remember that you are powerful. Know that you are powerful, collective. Do not limit yourself. Know that you are more than capable. I feel whoever I'm talking to, you've matured, you've grown up. Yeah, you've always wanted to grow and experience things. Yeah, you may be somebody who's more like you didn't you grew before your age. You've grown up, you grew before your age. Whoever I'm talking to right now, you are being called to be a leader, you are being called to lead the way. Right now you are being called to help others, show others how it's been done. Right now you are being called to be the leader, because I feel I'm talking to somebody who's more like making the impossible things right now. Let's see some more. I feel you may be helping the collective. You may be helping raising the collective's consciousness. Law is not justice. Rules are not fair. Rules that are not fair. I feel you may have been through situations whereby they were misjudging you. You may have been through situations whereby you were misjudged a lot. People may have been extremely harsh with you. Yeah, right now, these are people who are more like watching you and feeling like, who the hell is collective? These are people who just can't understand this new you. You have a lot of people amazed by this new you. I feel you may have not even followed the normal routine ways. I feel you maybe have people may feel like you took through shortcuts. Pretty much, you may have people feeling like you forged your way. Right now they are like they're trying to understand who's collective. We don't know this new collective. Yeah, you forged your way and created your own path. Yeah, whoever I'm talking exactly, they are asking themselves who is collective. They don't know how to make sense of this new you. All in the golden afternoon. Yeah, these are people who sees you as very much inspirational. They view you as very much as somebody who has this creative spark about you. They weren't expecting for you to be this imaginative. Whoever I'm talking to, I see you've advanced. You are somebody who keeps making effort. These are people who thought that you would remain in the same place forever, but then right now they see you've kept up. It's more like you let go of toxic choices. You've let go of restraining yourself, making wrong choices. It's more like you chose yourself. Yeah, uh, no more neglecting yourself. Yeah, these are people who are more like trying to look closely into you and your situation. I mean, you have people not knowing how to make sense of everything that's going on right now in real time. Yeah, you've grown up rapidly, collective. I feel whoever I'm talking to, you wanting to grow in experience. You have grown a lot, especially in experience. Pretty much rejecting perpetually. You are somebody who's more like no longer entertaining mediocre. You are no longer entertaining things that are no longer serving you. Things that are very much low vibrational. No, you are no longer being delusional. You are no longer on that timeline. You have people watching you. Yeah, let's see some more on this. They are very much obsessed with your energy. You have people feeling very much obsessed with your energy. These are people who wanted you to limit yourself, you know. Yeah, right now they view you as a missed opportunity. They regret. Yeah, these are people who are so much more like in their head about you. They didn't expect for you to create the impossible for yourself. They didn't expect for you to have this new, fresh perspective. I feel they wanted you to stand in the same place. These people, they feel like things are not fair right now. However way you may have forged your way, they feel like they should have known before, they should have known better. Exactly, look at them, they're trying to make sense of it. However way you may have forged your way, you found your justice, pretty much balanced your scales, vindicated your name. These are people who are trying to understand, how did you vindicate yourself, how did you find your way, how did you, they are trying, you see them. Yeah, they are more like, these are people who are used to entertaining mediocre. These are people who are delusional. These are people who feel like they are bigger than the program. Little did they know that you can see beyond the program. Yeah, these are people who feel like they should have known, they should have seen. Yeah, these are people who are more like, they view you as somebody who's more like, the queen of cups, like somebody who's more in their feminine. They view you as somebody who's more like not, who's scared to take risk. These are people who may have seen you as somebody who's more like always overextending. How come you didn't even share? These are people who feel like they are so grieving right now. They are very much grieving. Whatever you did for yourself is more like they want to manifest it for themselves. These are people who are more like grieving right now. Yeah, I feel they remember when you are vulnerable. You know, they may even be trying to plot on how to come forward. Oh my God. Who are you right now, collective? This new you is so triggering. Who are you? Right now, you are the magician. Right now, you are the magician, and it's breaking a lot of people's hearts. Right now, you are more like the manifester. You are more like the alchemist. Right now, you are more like in your power. Yes, you know how to utilize the resources, and it's getting people in their emotions. Look at them. They didn't expect this. They didn't want for this to happen for you. Yeah, and right now they are very much imprisoned, grieving the separation. They're seeing you as this manifest. Oh my God, they can't stand your shine. These are people who just can't stand your shine. Trying to make sense of your situation, on how you are so emotionally stable. Yeah, they're trying to make sense on how are you this emotionally stable? How are you still this not bitter? How are you still not bitter? Oh my God. Yeah. They are very much in their head, waking up at night, too obsessed with your energy. Yeah, these are people who are trying to victimize themselves, because they don't know who to blame. They have no one to blame. They cannot blame you. No, you did your part. They were the one who were at the wrong, and they don't know who to blame. Yeah, these are people who are scared of your success because they can see it's visible. These are people who are scared of you expanding and growing. These are people who feel like they've lost control of you. These are people who feel like they've lost control of you. They may have wanted to micromanage you, wanted you to be anxious about them. These are people who may have played a scare tactics, wanting to always manipulate you. Yeah, right now they see you are creating the impossible, and they don't know how to make sense of it. They are very much obsessed. Oh my God. Yeah, them trying to make sense of your emotional stability, because you clearly, you did the impossible. You've balanced the scales for yourself. They feel like you forged your way out, and they still don't know how did you do it. Yeah, these are people who are more like feeling like you've spiritually bypassed them, you spiritually left them behind. In fact, you spiritually more like you've elevated. These are people who are more like thinking they can learn a thing or two from you. These are people who are not expecting this from you. They may have took your kindness for weakness. Yeah, these are people who may have took your kindness for weakness. As a queen of cups, because the queen of cups, she's way too caring, compassionate, understanding, kind. They may have took your kindness for weakness. Yeah, wanting you to feel delusional. Yeah, little did they know that you can also do stuff and think for yourself. Yeah, these people right now, they're asking themselves, who are you collective? This new you, they cannot resonate with this new you. It's more like you are the creator, you are the manifester, you are action orientated. You know how to utilize the resources, and it's breaking their heart. It hurting them. They are feeling very much rejected. These are people who are feeling very much unworthy. These are people who are feeling very much shameful. They feel very much dismissed in your energy. There's nothing they can bring to the table. Pretty much, there's nothing. These are people who may have wanted you to feel small, or dismiss yourself. But right now, it's more like the tables have turned. You've released them. You are very much at peace. You forgave yourself for what you've allowed, and you forgave them for what they did, and you've released them. Let's see with the lilith lilith design here. Yeah, you release them. Yeah, these people, the way they are so victimizing themselves right now, they even have this lack mindset. They're feeling left out in the cold. Yeah, they have this lack mindset. They see divine intervention at play in your life. These are people who feels like fate is at play on your life. You've reached completion. You've changed. I feel these are people who feel like you've closed the cycle on them. Yeah, with you, you know them using your kindness for weakness. With them being wanting you to be delusional, with them realizing that you've spiritually bypassed them. It's more like, to them, it's more like they are so impatient. They want to be on your match. They want to match your frequency so bad. These are people who want to come in and siphon from you. They feel so vulnerable. Yeah, and they see you are way too guarded. They feel so vulnerable because they want to match your frequency. They want to come into your energy. Yeah, they want to come in with deception. And you are way too guarded. Cannot be tempted. Yeah, these are people who are very much vulnerable right now. Yeah, they see you've released them, and it's more like you've surrendered, you've purged. Yeah, you are now one with yourself. Right now, you are very much one with yourself. You are in this self love mode. Your intentions are pure. Everything, whatever you are doing, it's actually on the high frequency. You know, yeah, with them feeling rejected and shame is because they didn't expect for you to recreate yourself. They didn't expect for you to be this manifester. They didn't expect for you to be this magician. Yeah, it's more like they've lost control. They feel rejected and unworthy because they've lost control. They feel dismissed in your energy. Somebody sees you are no longer limiting yourself. Yeah, you are facing your fears. You faced your fears. You faced your fears. Pretty much, you are now feeling more empowered. You are very much connected with your body, mind, and soul. I feel this is somebody who, these are people or someone who was actually undermining your quiet strength. You know, this is somebody or people who were actually undermining your quiet strength. Yeah, I was afraid that you would reject me if I shared my feelings with you. These are people who are self sabotaging. Yeah, these are people who are self sabotaging themselves, and they want to make it your problem. Hell to the no, you know? Yeah, I feel abandoned by you and it's triggering my childhood. You see? They are self sabotaging because of their own childhood traumas. These are people who are self sabotaging because of their own childhood